Can't believe I got this early. I got this early.
What the heck is
It's
that?
the Pixel 8a. It's a budget version of the Pixel 8. I'm actually super excited for this new color, the aloe green. It's supposed to be amazing in person, but let's see. Look at that, such a tiny box. Okay, wow. That is such a nice color. What the heck?
I've been feeling so small. Watch the clock ticking off the wall.
It's hard to believe, but in 2024, a $500 phone is considered a mid-range device. I remember buying my first iPhone for a lot less. Heck, just 4 years ago, the Pixel 4a was just $350. Inflation is real, my friends, and unfortunately, it's here to stay. However, it's important to note that the price of the Pixel 8a remains unchanged at $499, which is great to see because some rumors alluded to the possibility of a price hike. So what do you get in 2024 with Google's mid-range device, the Pixel 8a? Well, to be fair, you get a lot. Before we dive into all of that, can we just take a second to appreciate this aloe green colorway? This may honestly be one of the best colors I've seen on a smartphone in quite a long time. Especially as a longtime iPhone user, it's nice to have some color in my life. When I posted a picture of this phone over on Twitter, some of you were saying that you want to eat it. That's a pretty weird thing to say, but okay. Google is offering the Pixel 8a in 4 different colors this year: Obsidian, Porcelain, Bay, and my favorite, aloe green. Right off the bat, you can tell that this is a Pixel device. The Pixel 8a borrows the same aesthetics and style as its predecessor, but with a few key changes. There's no denying it, the corners are more rounded this year, making the 8a a very comfortable phone to hold for long durations. Coming to the Pixel 8a from the S24 Ultra, it's definitely the more comfortable device. The sharp corners on the Galaxy S24 Ultra really dig into the palm of your hands, so it's really nice to have these curved corners on the Pixel 8a. Over on the back, the Pixel 8a sports a matte texture. It's much more resistant this year to fingerprints. Despite the matte texture, in the hands this phone is a tad bit slippery. I wouldn't recommend rocking the Pixel 8a naked. Definitely get a case on as soon as possible. I got some cases for you guys that I recommend down in the description below. Despite a few changes, everything else about this phone though screams Pixel. We got the signature horizontal camera bar running along the back, you got a USB-C port on the bottom, solid power and volume rockers that feel great to push down on. I was actually surprised by how well built this phone feels in the hands. It's got a premium quality feel to it despite it being a mid-range device. Some fantastic hardware upgrades on Google's part. The bezels though could use some work. You're looking at a screen to body ratio of 81.3%, so these are some rather thick bezels. Biometric wise, you're looking at an optical fingerprint scanner. So far, the fingerprint scanner has been pretty reliable, never once missing the timing. I love how the scanner lights up every time I press down on the display. It's always been the little things that bring me joy when it comes to tech. I think the star of the show this year is definitely the display. There are some fantastic improvements on the display front when compared to last year's Pixel 7a. For starters, this is an actual display that peaks at a max brightness of 2000 nits. You're looking at a 6.1-inch OLED panel with a resolution of 2400 by 1800. Watching content, playing games, and just casually scrolling through your phone looks great. I watched a few 4K YouTube videos on the Pixel 8a and it was sharp, vivid, and plenty bright. Honestly, a terrific display for a phone that's $500. I played a few games of Wild Rift in my short time with this device and the graphics were fantastic. I was actually surprised by just how quickly I was able to adjust to this panel coming from an S24 Ultra. I actually didn't miss its massive 6.8-inch AMOLED panel, which caught me by surprise. Another welcome improvement this year is the dynamic 120Hz refresh rate, up from the Pixel 7a's 90Hz refresh rate. There's definitely a noticeable difference when casually scrolling through the phone. Apps like Instagram, Twitter, and Reddit all feel much smoother to scroll through compared to the Pixel 7a. Now, in the performance department, I think it's no surprise that Google opted to go with the Tensor G3 chipset. Now, I've commented a lot on the Tensor G3. I've said that it feels sluggish, it feels hindered, and overall it's not a very powerful chipset. The benchmarks don't lie, but I will say this though. For some reason, the Pixel 8a absolutely flies. In fact, it feels like the smoothest Pixel I've ever used, and this is coming from someone who used every single Pixel device ever since the OG Pixel. So something is definitely different here and I can't quite put my finger on it. I love how the Pixel 8a handles everyday tasks, like typing out full emails by using the ever-accurate Pixel voice-to-text, surfing the web, scrolling socials, navigating maps, and even taking snapshots. Everything on this phone feels buttery smooth despite the lower benchmarks. Sticking to the topic of typing on the Pixel 8a is super easy. Gboard is without a doubt the best typing experience I've ever had on a smartphone. I can quickly type out entire paragraphs without making too many mistakes. And did I mention how good autocorrect is on Pixel devices? Far, far better than the iOS keyboard. Now, of course, this is a Pixel phone, infamous for AI and useful software features. Every phone is always trying to outdo the previous iteration when it comes to hardware. But Google is different. They want all of their attention placed on software. The Pixel 8a comes with some of my favorite AI features. Features like Best Take, Magic Editor, Circle to Search, Call Assist, and Live Translate. Some of my favorite features are Circle to Search, Call Assist, and Live Translate. Those are my most used Pixel features, so naturally they are my favorites. On the battery front, it's far too early for me to come to any sort of conclusion, but thus far the battery does seem formidable. I'm averaging around 6 hours of screen on time these past 2 days, which is decent given that this phone hasn't entirely adapted to my usage yet. I also haven't done anything too crazy on this phone these past few days. I've watched a few YouTube videos, I sent out a few emails, I used about 20 minutes of navigation in total, I played a few games, and I took a few pictures. Nothing too crazy. The Pixel 8a does have a slightly larger 4400 mAh battery this year, and it does come with wireless charging this year. The charging speeds though remain the same at 18 watts wired, which, let's face it, is pretty slow by 2024 standards. Smartphone photography has always been a big selling point for Google Pixel 8 phones. Google once said, what other sub $500 phone out there produces shots like this? And you know what? Google has a valid point. When it comes to the cameras, there's no denying it. For under $500, this is probably the best phone you can buy if you care about high quality stills. The Pixel 8a is rocking a dual camera setup with a 64 megapixel main camera and a 13 megapixel ultra wide camera, along with a 13 megapixel selfie camera. The main sensor is the same sensor found on the Pixel 7. I took a few pictures ranging from low light to very bright conditions, and this phone did a fantastic job in all sorts of scenarios. The Pixel 8a, just like the Pixel 7a, tends to go dark with its coloring, which in my opinion always works to its advantage. Shadows are more prominent in these photos, but there's a good balance between the highlights, contrast, and saturation. I've always been a fan of the Pixel look, and this year it's no different with the Pixel 8a. Even in low light, there's very little noise and these pictures actually look presentable. Even in a complete nighttime scenario, the Pixel 8a does a very good job. The Pixel 8a lights up the entire scene, taking photos like this. These pictures were all shot from the balcony of my condo at 2 a.m. and this is the result. Pretty impressive stuff. I even had a chance to test out the super res zoom feature, which uses AI to remove the fuzziness that can result from zooming in on a shot. Especially important for a phone that doesn't have a dedicated telephoto lens to call its own, maxing out with an 8x digital zoom. From a distance, these buildings appear clear enough, though if you look more closely, you'll see a lack of sharpness in some of these shots. In the video department, you can take video in 4K 60 FPS, and this is what the quality looks like. The stabilization is very good, but I feel like when compared to phones like the iPhone SE, the Pixel 8a does fall short. I'll say this, the Pixel 8a is a very region-specific phone. Depending on where you live, the better option for you might be to go with the Pixel 8, just based on various pricing scenarios. In the US, you can buy the Pixel 8 for $550, just $50 more than the Pixel 8a. In that case, buying the Pixel 8 is a no-brainer. However, in my case, being from Toronto, the Pixel 8a is around $300 cheaper than the Pixel 8. For me, the Pixel 8a is an absolute steal. It's actually not a bad deal at all. I paid $767.27 for this phone. And for a brand new phone with all these features and 7 years of software updates, this is a stellar deal. If you made it to the end of this video, do me a huge favor and drop a dolphin emoji down in the comments below. I would love to know who my true supporters are. My name is RJ, and as always, thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to flex with your tech.